Hey guys, it's your pal Victor here, and I'm back with my reactions and review of the new Scott Cooper directed film produced by Guillermo del Toro. We're here to talk about Antlers, so stay tuned. So I just got out of the press screening here in Phoenix for the new horror film Antlers, and this is a movie I've been wanting to watch for a while now. We almost got to watch it last week at Beyond Fest, and we have a Q&A with Udo Kier for that coming up pretty soon on the channel, but I just want to talk about Antlers, and this movie... One, the less you know about it going in, the better. But I'm going to be kind of like talking a little bit about what I feel influenced it, and if some things that if you like, you will like this movie. So, watching this movie, it's obvious why Guillermo del Toro produced it. It has a lot in common DNA-wise with like The Orphanage, but more importantly, Tigers Are Not Afraid, which he had a presenting hand in. This is a movie that looks at some horrors, some terrible things happening in society through the lens of an ancient evil or ancient myth. And that is very much what Tigers Are Not Afraid is about, looking at, sort of the terrible conditions with drugs in Mexico and seeing that through the lens of the cartel and an innocent child caught in the middle. This film looks a lot at addiction, abuse, and the opioid epidemic in America through the lens of Native American myth. And that's really a lot about what this movie is about. It's about how people are damaged by abuse and addiction and neglect, and they try to survive despite the pain and that sort of burden we carry with us if we've suffered from abuse or addiction, alcohol abuse in the family, and especially as a child growing up and what that leaves behind, the scars it leaves on your soul as an adult. But it is also a brutal horror movie, and not in terms of, hitting you, like just everyday horrors like abuse and addiction and growing up in a poor place. Like, I could be really reductionist and say it's like, Gummo if it was real, to a certain degree, but it sort of follows this child who's grown up around drug abuse, but that's all he knows, and he still loves his family, and a teacher who's come back to a community from fleeing abuse and trying to make a new home for herself, and how these histories of abuse and addiction line up, using the lens of, an ancient Native American presence. Like I said, I don't want to spoil this. I feel like I'm trying to say less than the trailer. But if you love strong performances, like Carrie Russell is amazing in this. I've never been a huge fan of her. She's great in this. But the child in this movie, he is so good. He carries this film, the performance, through his eyes, and that's very true of a lot of he sort of reminds me of Santi from The Devil's Backbone, if you want to put it in a lens of children in Del Toro-esque or Del Toro Helm Productions, because it does have that feel to it, even though Scott Cooper's adaptation of the short story The Quiet Boy is just so spot on and amazing. But also, there's great performances in here from Amy Madigan, who you might know from Only the Lonely or Field of Dreams. Who else is Rory Calhoun uh, from Empire Records? He's in this and he's great. But really, Jesse Plemons gives a really great performance in this. He's like Kerry Russell's brother, and he's the sheriff of the town, and he's also suffered from abuse. And the way he handles it is just underscored in the subtext, and it's great. And it's just, the performance in this film are really amazing. And, you know, people throw around that word elevated horror. Honestly, it's a dumb label. All it means is a quality, well-written story with horror elements, which is what all good horror movies like The Shining, which is also has shades of, you know, really aspire to be. And especially after how bad Halloween Kills was, and that, like, the lowest common denominator of like, oh, a horror movie is just gore and a monster. Dude, this movie has a heart to it. It breathes. It's honestly, it's better than a lot of the movies that have been given this elevated horror gag gimmick, you know, like Get Out or Us or The Witch. Honestly, and I'm not trying to hype it up. I just really love this movie, and I really want you guys to check it out. So if you get a chance, check out Antlers. It comes out next week, and it's just honestly one of the best movies overall this year. It's so good. So check it out if you get the chance, and if you enjoyed my thoughts on this, check us out for more videos here on cultfollowing.co and Cult Classics on YouTube. So I will talk to y'all later. Thanks for tuning in.